Good afternoon, poetry lovers. On my fifth cup of coffee of the day. I live on the stuff. Well, one day last week, my granddaughter came in to see me for a cup of tea and a biscuit and a chat. And she said she was doing a project at school and wanted to know what life was like when I was a lad. Oh, fair enough. She asked me what my favourite computer game was. Well, imagine her disbelief when I told her that computers hadn't been invented when I was a lad. Oh, well, what was your favourite TV programme then? Even more disbelief when I told her we didn't even have a TV until I was about 15. And then it was a black and white one with a 12-inch screen. Latest technology in those days. She said, well, what did you do then? And I said, well, one of the things I did was to help my mum a lot. Because looking after a family of 4 after the war when things were in short supply was jolly hard. So I used to help her whenever I could. And she was a very resourceful woman, my mum. And she used to make all our own clothes and I used to help her. It was my job to operate the sewing machine handle. It was an old Singer tabletop machine, no electric motors. No. You operated the thing by turning a handle to get the mechanism going. And you had to do it at just the right speed. Too slow, and I would be admonished as, come on, slow coach, haven't got all day. And too fast, well, probably a danger of stitching my mum's finger to whatever it was she was making at the time. Not a good idea. She used to make all our own clothes out of whatever material was available at the time, because just after the war, you had to make do and mend. It wasn't a throwaway society in those days. Things only got thrown away when they were completely and utterly irreparable. And even then, some of the things were salvaged off whatever it was. But anyway, she used to make our own clothes and she made me a little suit. I can still remember it. Little pair of trousers and a little jacket. Lovely. But it was made out of an old pair of floral curtains. You can imagine the sight. If I'd have complained, I would have been told to pull myself together, I expect. However, can you see today's kids running around in a little suit made out of a pair of old curtains? I don't think so. However, that's the way it used to be. But I digress. Because my granddaughter was doing this project, I thought, well then, probably must be a little poem there. So I wrote one. And here it is. It's called, How Was It For You, Grandpa? Well, I'll tell you. Hey, Grandpa, what did you do when you were really small? I have to write an essay for school, so I need to hear it all. All right, I said, sit down and listen to what I have to say. You might not believe in most of it, but I'll tell you anyway. I was born in a town in Yorkshire, in the middle of World War II. I didn't have many toys at all. My parents weren't well-to-do. I had an elder brother, so most of my things used to be his. And when I asked why that was, I was told, that's just the way it is. As I remember, my first new toy was a bright red wooden truck. It was big enough to sit in. That is, when it wasn't full of muck. I had a football and a skipping rope, and a dog on wheels called Jim. I'd kick and skip and run all day. No wonder I was slim. I didn't have the things you do, computers and the like. But when I was 5, for Christmas, I got a second-hand 3-wheeler bike. My childhood friend had one as well, and we'd have races down the street. We'd pedal around for hours and hours, only going back home to eat. Most food was rationed in those days, and you couldn't always get enough. But my dad had a big allotment where he used to grow all kinds of stuff. It was jolly hard work for a working man, and we all had to lend a hand. But it was well worth all the effort. The veggies and fruit tasted grand. At the end of Dad's allotment was a field attached to the local farm. It was our playground where we'd mess around, but we never did any harm. We played hide and seek or invent a new game. We used our imagination. No flashing thumbs on a mobile phone, which I find an irritation. Don't say a word. Just listen, I haven't quite finished yet. We took our time to work things out. Life was slower with no internet. There was no Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, or other social media. If we wanted to know things, we'd look it up in an encyclopedia. We had no phones, computer games, not even a TV. It might seem prehistoric, but that's the way it used to be. On winter's nights, all dark and cold, we'd gather round an open fire. We'd tell stories, play games, listen to the radio, whatever was our desire. Life was much simpler then, less hurried and with far less strife. And as I've grown to the age I am, I've seen many changes in my life. Now, I'm not saying change is wrong at all, but if I may be so bold, it's time to throw out some of the new and bring back some of the old. So that's how it used to be. You can go away and write your essay now. And if you need to know anything else, come back and see me. I'm going to listen to the radio now. It takes a couple of minutes to warm up. Just in time to make another cup of coffee, I think. See you all next week. Bye-bye.